What is one of the hardest things about marriage, would you say, or would you guess? Being unmarried, I guess I never really realized how important it could be until I went up to Chicago a few years back and met individually with 7 couples whose weddings I had witnessed over the years. They were all married. Each of them was married anywhere between about 1 year to about 14 years now. And I asked them, what is the hardest thing about marriage so far? And I asked them, what did I do a bad job of preparing you for? All 7 had the same answer, actually, to both questions. In-laws. Being unmarried, I don't think I think about them very often. And so I was shocked, startled actually, by their response. In-laws. One of the hardest things about being married is in-laws. In-laws can be hard, I think we would all say, without hesitation. In-laws can be difficult. Some of our in-laws are so easy. Some, it just seems so natural, the fit in the family. But I would suggest that perhaps more often than not, as I've talked to more and more people since, it is really hard. It's hard for a number of reasons. One is because we didn't choose them. We got stuck with them. We inherited them. Sometimes stuck for as many as 5 and 6 days at a time over Christmas. And then there are all the compromises a young couple has to make, like where's Christmas going to be, where's Easter going to be, where's Thanksgiving going to be, and you have that time-honored tradition, you love to be with your family on Christmas Eve, and then all of a sudden, so does your spouse. So there's lots of sacrifices and compromises that don't come with a little stress and strain, and maybe even resentment. Who wins those little battles? Who loses? And then there are the divided loyalties. What do you say to your spouse when he or she is complaining about your mom? Or your mom is complaining about your spouse? What do you say? How do you not pick sides? How do you get used to a family that does so many things so different than the way you do them? And what about those stinkers in your family? In-laws can be hard. Whether it's the in-laws or someone's new significant other or a blood relative, someone eventually becomes very close to challenging our Christmas spirit every year. Will there be that person at the Christmas dinner table again who we wish were not there? How do we handle overbearing, controlling in-laws? What do we do when our spouse's family drives us crazy? Maybe Jesus' family was just like ours. In the gospel reading from Matthew, at one of the Christmas masses actually, there's this genealogy, this family tree of Jesus that's to be read. It's a very long reading with many hard to pronounce names, and so most priests don't even pick it. Nevertheless, it's an essential piece of Jesus' history, and it's an essential piece of our salvation history. We see clearly from that genealogy that Jesus' ancestors were not saints. In fact, there were some infamous sinners. Named in that extended family of Jesus will be a murderer, a prostitute, a sacrilegious desecrator, an out-of-control polygamist, 18 wives, 60 concubines. That's a lot of in-laws. And the list just keeps going on. Imagine Jesus sitting down at dinner with Mary and Joseph, asking about his relatives at Christmas. Yet with all of that being true, family life is a great, great school for how to live and especially for how to live with difference. The truth is, nobody in the family is the same as me, or does it the same as I do it, or thinks like I think. My weaknesses are not theirs, nor am I good at what they are good at. Those things can all be so incredibly annoying to be confronted with day in and day out in what family does together. But as many parents say to their children when they're fighting, work it out. We have to figure out how to work it out, how to make this work, and to keep a sense of humor about it all. And never forget that I am at least as annoying as they are. Your in-laws, now or someday, are a crucial part of your spouse's life and of your kids' lives. Therefore, that makes them a crucial part of your life. No one ever said it was easy to balance your needs with the needs of other people that you share life with day in and day out, especially the needs of an entire new family inherited. But creating family harmony is possible. And I dare say, it's very, very much worth the effort. You realize it won't be easy to build bridges to these kinds of people and rebuild some that maybe we burnt. But you also realize this is a valuable way to spend your life. The return you get on that investment will last the rest of your lives. Think of your in-laws, for example, as potential resources to expand your mind, your heart, your soul, your body, your reach in this world. You can accomplish this by approaching your in-laws in the same way you would approach a potential friend. Respect them, be interested in them, and listen to them. After all, because of the choice somebody else made, they are now an essential part of your salvation history. I had an uncle married to one of my favorite aunts. He refused to like me. Can't imagine why. He made it terribly obvious. And when I got ordained, he was very anti-religion. When I got ordained, he declared to the family that I was good for nothing. And as a matter of fact, every time I saw him at any gathering of the family the rest of my life, he said, "Here comes good for nothing." He also had what struck me as a kind of a racist attitude that kept offending me, and I never knew all the way what to say. I wanted him not to join us for dinner, ever. But then I would have missed my aunt, my favorite aunt. That was really hard, I gotta say. I tried to even sit at the kids' table when I was 30. So I wouldn't have to deal with him. He did have one joke that I found kind of funny that he repeated about 30 million times that said, "You know how much the ideal mother-in-law weighs? 2.5 ounces, including the urn." I got the last word, actually, because I preached his funeral. True. But unknown to him, and I mean this sincerely, unknown to him, and I've talked to him about this since his dying, unknown to him, he gave me a great gift. The gift he gave me was I had to figure it out. I knew I couldn't change him in these kinds of ways. It was just beyond me. And I was his nephew, after all, not a peer, really. So I had to figure out how to live in community with him, really. And by that I mean I had to figure out how to be myself still, how to somehow manage to have a good time, how to do what I wanted to do there and get what I needed to get from family time, even though he was just always there in the corner of my eye, with those sideways glances that I found so difficult. He was teaching me how to live in community with people who dislike me. And for the rest of my life, I've lived in communities of parishes or seminaries or neighborhoods of one sort or another, and I've never been in one where there weren't people who disliked me clearly and unabashedly and very free to let it be known. But I learned from this uncle that I can do this. I can have them look at me like that, or even say a periodic disparaging thing. And they could even blow up at me sometimes. But little did he realize that he prepared me for those people in community the rest of my life. He prepared me to be true to myself, even if people didn't approve of me, which has really never not happened. How to be Gary and have a good time, even when he was standing right in front of me. Unpleasant? Was it unpleasant? Indeed. Was it a lot of work? Yes. But important. And I have to say, while I never would have chosen it ever, it was so good for me. No family is without its issues and difficulties, not even the Holy Family. Perhaps the invitation this Christmas, during this Jubilee year of mercy, is not to wish away those driving me crazy, but to somehow embrace that also belongs at the family table. To appreciate how through them some goodness can still come to us. For Jesus came through the line of some incredibly colorful personalities. Maybe our judgment can be replaced with a gentle acceptance of their quirks and antics, with a sense of humor, and treat them to a gift of mercy, and spare ourselves from being so irked. At least then, there might be more joy to our world. All this because of those darn in-laws. But Merry Christmas.